Cav PJ. I hope y'all having a good day. Back with another video, man. NBA video. Man, I love making these videos. It's really fun. It's satisfying. Today we're reacting to Paul George completely finesse the NBA, man. Finesse the 76ers. What am I saying? He also finessed the Clippers as well, but that's another story. But we're reacting to Paul George completely finesse the 76ers. Let's get right into it, boys. Alright.
Rest or heal or
just get my body. Tonight was tough. Past couple weeks, it's been tough on my body. Just growing, just been lingering. So this time off should definitely help. I just
alright. I'm sorry to pause straight away, but can we just talk about his stats? 2 points, 1 of 7, 6 rebounds, 4 assists in 37 minutes. It's not even against a contender. Against the Nets, bro. Now, as an OKC fan, bro, man, the Paul George trade saved my life. And the fact that I thought the Sixers were actually going to be dangerous. I was looking scared about the Sixers, bro. But now, look at this.
No burst. It was bothering me, but I tried to be available. But this break definitely needed.
I remember going on 3 years ago. Draymond Green was in the middle of the finals, and he was struggling significantly. And even in the midst of him having all of that going on, he was still recording his podcast. Now, even back then, when player podcasts were a little less prevalent, it was still an odd look. Stephen Curry's legacy was literally on the line. Draymond Green wasn't playing well. And even through all of that, he still had time to get home, set up his hotel equipment even after games, and give his audience content. It doesn't even matter what the sport is. It's something about active players' podcast in the middle of the season, especially when commenting on live events in your own sport, that just feels weird. Nevertheless, that's Draymond Green, and regardless of how you feel about him, he is one of the most accomplished players in this league. Now, what about that guy in Philly on a max contract named Paul? Paul George literally hasn't won anything significant for any organization ever, yet he feels extreme.
I really don't get this whole podcasting. Okay, if I was an NBA player making $100 million, I'd just be focused on the game, bro. I'd be focused on my craft, focused on getting better, focused on the team, making sure that we get dubs, being a team player, all that type of stuff. Because you're getting paid like 200 mil, and you want to win a championship, right? And to win a championship, you don't do podcasts. You don't do podcasts, bro. That's YouTubers, that's podcasters, not NBA players. The media should be doing that. You got Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, inside the NBA. That's a podcast in itself. I'm pretty sure those guys have their own podcast. It is cool to see NBA players, talk outside of the league. It is cool, don't get me wrong. But during the middle of the season, I don't think that is a good idea.
Extremely entitled, and he has some of the most tone-deaf quotes ever.
Because when I was in LA, they man, you should have been a Laker. That's all I was hearing. It wasn't no welcome to the Clippers. We happy you in LA, but you should have been a Laker.
He was on the second team.
I'm on the B team.
Paul George said this offseason. He didn't sign back with the LA Clippers because basically they didn't value his worth. And I'll just let him explain it.
Season in, I finished healthy. Now they bring it to 3 years.
Where we at?
150. Give me the 3 years, 150. No trade then. No trade clause. Then I'm taking less, but at least I know I'm here. Mm-hmm. I'm committed to y'all. They didn't want to do no trade.
Do that?
Wow. Basically, this man was hell-bent on him getting the same bad contract that Kawhi Leonard got. But oh yeah, I want to make mine even worse. Get me a no trade clause. What contending team is literally in the worst situation right now? It's the Phoenix Suns. Now, why exactly are they even in this situation to begin with? It's because they obtain literally the worst situation in sports, Bradley Beal's contract. Why exactly is Bradley Beal's contract so bad?
Look at this contract, bro. It tells you everything you need to know about the NBA right now. Super teams are done. Super teams, they're over with. That was the whole LeBron, Bosh, Wade, Durant, Curry era. That's all done, bro. Now it's building from the ground up. That is the true way to, kind of win in the NBA now. Yes, the Warriors had their super team success, and they won. But I think now, like, the universe is like, all right, we don't want none of that. Like, that's all done. Let's do it naturally. And I look at this contract, bro. Like the Suns actually made a terrible decision, bro. I honestly think the Suns shouldn't have even gotten Durant. I really think the Suns messed up getting Durant as well. Traded all their young assets. I'm a big no against trading your young assets and picks.
Because he makes a fuck ton of money, yet he's not worth the money he commands or the no trade clause that's in that contract that allows him to call the shots on where he plays on said contract. That's why this dude right here literally wanted that exact same power. Now that his hometown team basically said, bro, you're not worth it, go test the market and find a desperate sucker, he did exactly that and got that max contract. And what exactly is he doing now? Is he on a revenge tour? Is he back working with that MVP trainer that he told us about a few years ago? Like, what exactly is he doing?
Podcast P fam, welcome back to another episode of Podcast P.
Welcome back to another episode of Podcast P.
Podcast P.
Podcast P fam, welcome back to another episode of Podcast P.
Yo.
Jimmy Butler just left.
Yo, I can't, bro. This man really finished top 3 in MVP voting for us in OKC. That was his greatest season of all time, that season with OKC, and then he just went down the drain. He went down the drain after that.
Left Miami pretty much because he wanted his money. Pat Riley obviously doesn't pay players for what they've done. He wants to pay you for what you will do for his organization. Cool. Personally, I understand both sides, and I'm actually warming up to Jimmy Butler. But you know the perfect example as to why Jimmy Butler couldn't get that contract and why a lot of older players don't get additional max contracts. It's 2025 Paul George. Paul George, he had 2 points last night against Brooklyn. Paul George, he's on an annual salary that will pay him $53 million all the way up until he's 37. Let me say this right now. This man isn't Kevin Durant, who's still doing this thing at 36. He's not nowhere near LeBron, who's clearly still doing this thing at 40. This man looks cooked now, and unlike those guys, he's nowhere near as committed, clearly. Norman Powell said after Paul George left, it's basically addition by subtraction, and it came off as harsh, but I mean, was he lying? No, the Clippers aren't as good as they were last year, mainly because they had a much healthier Kawhi last year. But Norman Powell specifically, he's arguably having a better season this year than any Clippers Paul George year. Oh, that's and crazy. What makes it even worse is the Philadelphia 76ers fans absolutely hated Tobias Harris because it looks like he stole money. Well, Tobias Harris last year was better than Paul George now. The 76ers are an absolute mess. Joel Embiid is literally playing on a knee that he knows is done. And the player that they brought there, possibly to help carry at least Joel into the playoffs, what is he doing? This season alone, mind you, Joel Embiid has been gone the majority of the year. Paul George has more games under 10 than he does over 30. Look at Paul George's non-existent impact. When he's on the floor, they're actually a worse team all across the board. So basically, you stole money from an extremely passionate city like Philly, who's...
Wait, why is he so focused on his podcast? Someone please tell me why. There is no way he loves doing his podcast more than he likes playing in the NBA. How does that make any sense? Maybe his love for the game is gone. I reckon Paul George, he doesn't like what he's doing anymore. And he loves his podcast. And he's like, you know what? I made my money. I finessed the Sixers. Let me just chill and do my podcast. I feel like that's what he's thinking right now.
Traumatized by stuff like this and this and this and so on. And then you have the nerve to be a consistent content creator. The new NBA is wild. Whatever's left of Paul George's legacy feels like it's being tainted more and more by the year. And the biggest problem with Paul, in my opinion, is the fact that he talks way too much. You said this about your contract.
But I thought I did enough to earn
that money.
Yet last playoffs, when the series was tied 2 games apiece, you did this. After Dame hit one of the craziest shots ever on you, you were adamant and persistent on calling that a bad shot. You wanted to leave Indiana, whose best player played every single game in that jersey despite winning nothing, yet you want them to treat you like you're Reggie. You said you're bored playing center, as if you're doing anything else productive on the floor. the player that I'm actually starting to have a lot more appreciation for, who actually has a very similar career to Paul George.
He got me up out of there too.
Shit, yeah, we was out of there.
Nah,
Y'all both were struggling. Playing against
hey, he just spoke facts. DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, this guy just spoke fast. You gotta respect DeRozan. He gets straight to it. He dropped 40 the other night and a game winner against the Mavs.
LeBron.
Man, what? It's over.
They swept us 4-0.
Yeah, we was swept too.
Yeah.
We got swept too. Shit.
Since the 2010s, you know the player who leads the NBA in games, kinda by a landslide, is DeMar DeRozan. You know who also leads the NBA in minutes, kinda by a landslide, is DeMar DeRozan. This man has 11 seasons playing 70-plus games. LeBron has 13. DeMar DeRozan is available, he's consistent, he's productive, and he's quiet. DeMar is older than Paul George. DeMar makes half of Paul George's salary despite being much more productive. I don't hear him on a podcast talking about how valuable he is. He's literally just quietly hooping. I gotta respect that.
Season in, I finished healthy. 74 games played.
Yep.
Paul George played 74 games last year. That was by far the most he ever has in a Clippers uniform. And now in hindsight, it just felt very on timing to qualify, get your numbers, get your bag, get comfortable, and get right back behind your mic in your second career. Last year, in a contract year without Kawhi, Paul George did this. This year, after getting that contract without Joel Embiid, Paul George is doing this. Yeah, I know Paul George has been injured on and off, and I get that, but if I consistently see this from my max player on the court, and then I go home and see this from my max player on my phone, I'm gonna be pissed. Thank God the Eagles won. If you guys like this video,
Yo, nah, he right. Philadelphia. If the Eagles lost that Super Bowl, I reckon Philly would be down in even more shambles. But what happened to Paul George, bro? It's sad. I think it's just a case of losing your passion for the game and being a bit money hungry. He's got his money, and I don't think he kind of cares too much. Like, he's pretty much set up when you think about it. And when that mentality gets into your mind, where you're kind of like, oh, I'm set up, I don't need to do anything, like, I don't care anymore, bro, he's not going to be good at his craft. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to be, because he has everything, and that he's gone with the mindset. But you look at other players, like, you know, Shea, LeBron, I mean, even Jokic doesn't have that kind of dog mentality, but he still does his thing. But I think PG is just too obsessed with his podcast, and he needs to come down to reality. Not reality, but just be there for his team. He's not there for his team when you think about it. But yeah, rest in peace, Paul George, bro. At least he had one good season with me. But yeah, it's been Cav PJ. I hope you've had a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.